So let's take a seat, guys. And by the way, I just want to. Some of you guys were telling me you guys drove hours to be here today, so thank you for that. And by the way, Don, congratulations on the new book, Liberal Privilege. By the way, and so Don, let's start with your travel in the country. You wrote this book, second book in like 12 months, and I think this book is so important because it details the corruption of the Biden family. Can you talk about that? Why you wrote the book and what people need to know about what Joe Biden's been doing for the last 40 years.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. I had no intention. I mean, some of you guys, I think I saw some of you guys on the Triggered book tour less than a year ago. I had no intention of writing another book. I got home. It was March. All of a sudden, you couldn't go to work. Your kids couldn't go to school. You couldn't even go to church without getting ticketed. And I said, you know what? I got to do something. I got to start looking at our opponent. I may not have had the time to do it had I been working, keeping the regular schedule of my actual day-to-day life, business, as well as politics. And so I started looking, and within days, I was like, I can't believe what I found. And more importantly, I can't believe that of the tens of thousands of people in journalism, and I'll use that in quotes, because they're not journalists anymore. They're activists, because if they were still journalists, they would have written the book. They'd be asking the questions. They would find a big deal with any of these things. As sort of Ryan pointed out, if I did the stuff that Hunter Biden did, I'd be in jail, and my father wouldn't be able to run for president. I mean, think about it. He takes $1.5 billion from the Chinese government. You know what that means in a typical fund? $30 million a year in fees in a typical 2% fund model. Just in fees, before you even get the profits. $30 million a year to Hunter Biden from the Chinese government directly on a $1.5 billion investment. Imagine I took $30 from China. Imagine I took a phone call from China.
Yeah. Lock him up.
They'd be running, it'd be the next collusion. It would be totally disqualifying. Then you add in the Ukraine. Then you add in the other shady dealings. Then you add in the fact that he's still sitting on a board shipping American jobs from Michigan to China today. But, don't forget, Joe Biden's going to fix blue-collar America. He spent half a century in the Washington, D.C. swamp supporting such ridiculous trade deals as NAFTA. Then doubling down, then tripling down, then quadrupling down as early as last week, then acknowledging that the USMCA that my father did to fix that, the deal that everyone said he'd never be able to negotiate, just like you could never negotiate Middle East peace, once or twice, he got it done. So Joe Biden's own policies, I said this the other day, and I think it's 100% accurate. Joe Biden has single-handedly destroyed more blue-collar jobs in America than any person living or dead. It's true. So I'm looking at these policies. I'm looking at the jobs. I'm looking at what they're doing, his family is doing currently. And I'm saying, man, how does someone not put this down on paper? How is it that of all the journalists out there, you'd think someone would be interested in these stories? I get into not just the family corruption and his brother, right? Housing contracts to build houses in the Middle East paid for by the U.S. government. Minor details. He's never built a home before. We're actually in real estate. That's what we did for our whole lives, right? Unlike Hunter, we were business people before Daddy got into politics. What do you think would happen if the Trump organization bid for and won contracts to build housing in the Middle East from the U.S. government? Think it'd be problematic. I think it'd be trouble. So you had the corruption from the family side. You had the terrible policies on trade. You had the terrible decisions. I mean, Robert Gates, who was Obama's own Secretary of Defense, literally said that Joe Biden has been on the wrong side of every decision of his entire career. And a half a century is a long-ass career. I can say that, right?
Look at the kids.
No kids?
No, there's no babies right here.
Okay. We good? We good? Okay, thank you, Mom. I appreciate that. They're in the process of canceling me on CNN as we speak, but that'd be like the 15th or 20th time today, so we're sort of all good at it.
Yeah.
So, I took it upon myself to write this down because there's so much. I mean, think about it. The one that always gets me, every week they say, Donald Trump is in the later stages of dementia and Alzheimer's. They came up with a hoax. He's had many mini strokes. I'm like, that's news to me. It was news to the doctors at Walter Reed, and frankly, the government bureaucrats would have leaked that in about 2 seconds. We understand how this works at this point, right? If it were true. But Joe Biden, who's had 2 brain hemorrhages and actual brain surgeries. You don't know this, do you? No one's heard this. Do you think that if Donald Trump had multiple brain surgeries with explosions in his brain, and then he couldn't remember where he was, let's say what, 50% of the time? That's Joe Biden, right? 50% of the time. He can't, and I don't mean like a simple one, like Iowa and Ohio. Right? Thursday, Tuesday, Super Thursday. I was like, wow, that's new. I've been in politics for about 2 weeks compared to Joe Biden, and I know that it's not Super Thursday. But he would know, that he needs the teleprompter to speak to a group of 2 or 3 people, which is a large Biden rally. I mean, think about it. Imagine being in D.C. I like that.
Yeah.
Joke 2020. You're 100% right.
2020,
Imagine being a 50-year, a half a century politician, and you need a teleprompter to remember your platform.
Yes.
You saw that the other day, right? And I'm going to fix this. Pause for applause. Restart speaking now. It's like R2-D2.
Oh, that's mean to R2-D2.
I know, baby. R2-D2 actually had a brain.
He's so cute.
So, sorry about sort of the long-winded rant, but I literally couldn't believe that I, as a citizen and not a journalist, had to be like, you know what? Someone has to put this on paper. I mean, the MAGA crowd will love liberal privilege. But you know who really will love it? Those people who've been listening to a 96% biased mainstream media. Despite unprecedented economic success, despite peace deals in the Middle East, despite ending of wars, despite fulfilling promises, despite the lowest unemployment numbers in the history of America. By the way, even today, in the midst of a pandemic, we're at the Obama-Biden average. In a global pandemic. Right? You heard that the other day, the media. Oh, man. Oh. The numbers are pretty good. They want to kill themselves. Right? They reminded me of like Bill Clinton in that video with Hillary the other day. You know when she's screaming? That Zoom call where he's like, please kill me now. I just want to get the Rona.
Yeah.
Because in all fairness, like, there's no one in America that wants out of quarantine more than Bill Clinton, right? I mean, and not one of us blame him. So I was just sitting there, and I literally said, man, someone had to put this down. If the Trump family did these things, it would be totally disqualifying. And of the tens of thousands of journalists that are out there, that not one of them would bring it up. Not one of them would say, hey, maybe we should look at this before giving this guy the nuclear football.
Right.
Maybe when we know what we know now about China, the lies, the deceit, that they shut down travel from Wuhan to Beijing and to Shanghai, but not to Milan, New York, LA, and everywhere else. Maybe we need someone who's not bought and paid for by China. Maybe we need someone like Trump who's actually stood up to them, who got a trade deal done. Guys, if Joe Biden could fix anything, he would have done it by now. I can assure you.